Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the video. So this is something that the Libs of TikTok Twitter account had posted some days back, and I thought it was pretty interesting. This was brought to my attention recently, so I figured, you know what? Let's take a look at it. Let's see what's going on with it, because in the year of 2022, it's not surprising. It's not surprising to see stuff like this posted. Like I said, hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the video. So this is a post that I was made aware of by the Libs of TikTok Twitter account. Thought it was pretty interesting, and I wanted to share it with y'all because what is said in this video is something that nobody knows if this person's actually being serious or if they're just trolling and, you know, just having a good time, just trying to be funny, right? It could be absolutely satirical for all we know, or it could be legit. I wouldn't be surprised if it is legit because, as we've seen before, there's people out there that have some pretty extreme ideas with how they view certain things and certain people. And especially if they don't agree or align with a certain ideology, they will certainly have an extreme counter ideology to it. So let's take a look at this real quick, and we'll discuss.
About the transphobic baby at work before. I went in a room with him today, and I had my wig on, which I took off now because it's like 9 o'clock at night. He didn't cry, and he was like babbling at me, and I had to look at him and like, do you like me now because we've had a moment, or do you like me now because I have long hair and look more feminine? Because then you're more transphobic. And then he started to cry, so that was my answer.
See, like, it's hard for me to take that seriously because what we really come to this? But at the same time, the other part of me says, you know, it could be real because we've seen stuff like this before with people. There's people out there that they're pretty extreme when it comes to their ideology and stuff. So is it real? Is it fake? There's no way to know for sure. From my understanding is nobody knows who this person is, and I'm not saying anybody should find them. Obviously, we don't condone any kind of harassment of any kind towards anybody here on this channel. We just like to look at this stuff and entertain ourselves, point and laugh when it's appropriate. And this would be one of those moments where you can point and laugh if it is indeed a joke. And if it's not, then it should be very concerning that there's people like this watching very young children, especially babies, that don't really understand any of these issues that are out in the world, anything of a socio or political nature. So if this person is truly being serious, then I think this is correct when they say unhinged, right? But there's no way to know for sure. And I would assume this person saying that they watch babies, if they are in fact a teacher, they're obviously some kind of daycare teacher if they're dealing with babies all day, which again should be pretty concerning for people that leave their babies at that daycare. But we don't know for a fact because I don't believe there's been anything to really how should I say, confirm that, right? And nobody should look either, whatever. Like I said, let's just point and laugh at it and look at it as the entertainment that it is for us, right? Something to point and laugh at. But what's interesting that this person says here is that, you know, or you're not crying now because I look more attractive now because, or I look more like a woman now. What's interesting, I mean, however you, I obviously, I don't think this person is attractive. I wouldn't think they would look attractive either way, just my opinion. But what's interesting about that, though, is that there is some studies that have shown that babies stare at beautiful people. A study shows babies trust them more. So these two articles, I'll go ahead and link them in the description below so you guys can read them if you'd like and come to your own conclusions. I'll just read a little bit of both of these. But this one says, newborn babies prefer to look at attractive faces, says UK researchers suggesting that face recognition is hardwired at birth rather than learned. Alan Slater and his colleagues at the University of Exeter showed paired images of faces to babies as young a 1-day-old and found that they spent more time fixated on the more attractive face. Attractiveness is not in the eye of the beholder. It's innate to a newborn infant, says Slater. Developmental psychologists have known for years that babies have preferences for certain objects, such as a high contrast images and curvy biological shapes. but where these preferences come from remained unknown. Slater's research using extraordinarily young infants supports the idea that babies are not mere blank slates, but instead come into this world with a fairly well-developed perception system. It says here, pretty people. The group took pictures of a variety of female faces and asked adult subjects presented to rate them for attractiveness. Subjects scored each face on a scale from 1 to 5. The researchers then searched for pairs of photographs that were similar in all respects in brightness and contrast, for example, but at opposite ends of the attractiveness scale. They then presented these paired photographs to newborn infants who ranged in age from 1 to 7 days old. All babies were in the still in a hospital after birth. One researcher held each infant upright about 30 centimeters away from the two photos. Another stood out of view and noted where the baby's eyes were directed. Almost all the babies spent more time looking at the more attractive faces than the less attractive ones, says Slater, who will be presenting his results at the British Association for the Advancement of Science Festival of Science in Exeter later this week. So before I go on with that, so I mean, look, maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some truth, right? Maybe because the fact that this person, I'm assuming that this person is a female to male transgender, I believe. Could be completely wrong. I could have it the other way around. I don't know. It is what it is if I get it wrong. But it could be, again, yes, whatever wig they had before. If they had a wig that made their appearance look more masculine or more male, yes, maybe, showing the hair, maybe, to the baby made it seem, the more feminine features maybe did make the baby more comfortable. I don't know. It's possible. Although, like I said, maybe to the baby, the person, looked more attractive. If this is true, like I said, I don't know. Because, again, we don't know anything about this person, and they could absolutely be trolling just everyone just for the sake of it, right? Because they knew that putting something out like this, especially on TikTok, because we see it on TikTok all the time, that this would maybe attract headlines or have the potential to go viral, giving some crazy extreme take like that, right? Like that a baby is transphobic, a baby who knows really nothing about the world yet, that hasn't really developed hasn't really developed their own ideology on things just yet. So I'll continue on here, though. He suggests the reasons for the preferences is simple. Pretty people actually have the prototype of a human face. Researchers have long noted that the melding together hundreds of faces, a statistical average of facial characteristics is reached that happens to be incredibly attractive. In a baby's mind, these beautiful faces may represent the stereotypical human face, says Slater, which they have evolved to recognize. Such built-in information helps babies learn quickly, including the ability to pair faces with sounds like voices. According to Slater, babies are born with a fairly detailed representation of the average human face that helps them recognize familiar faces and also helps them learn about the social world. So, I mean, look, maybe it's possible that the baby saw the long hair or whatever, and it made the baby feel more comfortable because maybe the baby, I would assume, especially if you're working at daycare, the baby's probably more used to, in most cases, we see more females working at daycares, right? That's usually what we see there. So probably it made the baby feel more comfortable to see somebody that looked more feminine. So here's another study that's on here, but I won't go over this one. I'll just go ahead and link it in the description below. But it also kind of says things are similar. It basically quotes the Alan Slater stuff with a couple differences, minor differences, but essentially the same. It's essentially the same. It talks about a different study, like right here in the study of the researchers took pictures of a variety of female faces, then asked adults subjects to rate their attractiveness. These subjects scored each face on a scale of 1 to 5. So, maybe there's some science to it, I guess. Although I don't know for sure. I don't know for a fact, but yeah, I think that this is one of those things that it's healthy. It's something to look at with a healthy degree of skepticism, I guess, either way, whether or not this is real or not. I think you could be skeptical either way on this one because it doesn't surprise me, right? It wouldn't surprise me, I should say, especially in 2022, that this person could be 100% serious or they might just be absolutely joking. But anyways, let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. I thought this was entertaining. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Y'all have a good one.